Because AI is already here, we can't put the genie back in the bottle. What does that mean for musicians? What does that mean for songwriters? What does that mean for producers? What does that mean for mix engineers? The topic that everybody is talking about right now is AI. In the business world, in the music world, you pick up the Wall Street Journal, they're always talking about AI. And why is that? Well, the genie's out of the bottle, guys. AI is here. You have ChatGPT, you got Suno, you got all of these things out there, all of these tools, which are amazing new tools that we've never had before. We can do things, we can think up things so fast. We can leverage AI for all these amazing things, but we also need to take a step back. The creative industry right now, I think, is kind of on the forefront of this AI revolution. And so we're seeing right now companies like Suno come out and allow people who have no musical experience, no previous knowledge of music or theory or how to play an instrument, and they can go and create a song from nothing. And they can go to ChatGPT first and generate a bunch of random lyrics and then paste it into Suno, and then voila, you have a song. So in the creative industry, things are different right now. There's new opportunity for people to make music who have never been able to make it. And we are seeing already the displacement of jobs. You ask a lot of people in the industry, they're hearing things, seeing things. And so times are changing, guys. You're seeing changes at corporate organizations. You're seeing changes in the music industry, in the film industry. And so, this is something that I think as creatives and as human beings first, right, we need to take a step back and really look at what AI is and what we can use it for, what we should and shouldn't use it for. Because I've found in life, if you look around, there's a lot of things that are allowable in the world that you can do, evil and good, right? And you can do things, but those aren't always necessarily the things that you should do. We're talking about free will, right? You can go out and rob a bank right now. Is that the right thing to do? So in music, what's going on with AI right now? So people are able to auto-generate songs, as I mentioned earlier. At first glance, that's pretty impressive, right? You can go ahead and pop something in, put in some lyrics, boom, you get a whole song. But what I will say is, listening to some of these AI songs, for me, and I think there's others out there. I heard Rick Beato talk about this, where his son, I think, can hear the AI. I can hear the AI. It's very obvious to me when there's an AI song. There's a crispiness to it. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like in the 2K-ness is just, it's like just like a roughness that I hear in my ear when it's AI. And so to me, it's very obvious that it's AI. But still, the point is, you can go and you can create a song, and there's a lot of people who don't care that it's AI. And I think, we have to reevaluate that. And for me personally, I think that's a problem. And we'll get to that a little bit later on. But again, at first glance, wow, pretty cool what you can do, right? But something feels a little off about these songs. Like I mentioned, I can hear that there is some fuzzy crackliness in the song, in the sound, that to me makes it stick out immediately as AI. I can go on Instagram or TikTok and go listen to some of these artists out there, and I'm like, oh, that's AI immediately, I can tell. And so I don't know if that'll continue moving forward, if AI will continue to get better, but my point is, something feels off about these AI songs. To me, it's in the lyrics, it's in the emotion of the performance. It's a lot of things, and not just the tinny sound that I'm hearing in there. And there's no real perspective in it. There's no humanness in it, and I think that's the big difference in the AI songs as well. There is no humanity really in it. It's all processed. People can argue and say, well, I came up with the lyrics, or I came up with the idea for the lyrics, but to me, it doesn't matter. There's no human perspective in these AI songs. And so I think that's the biggest problem I have is music. If you look back at the history of humanity and why it was made, from a social perspective, and getting together and making music and telling stories and shared experiences, those are all part of being human. And so, when you start taking the humanity out of things, I have a problem with that globally. And I think a lot of people do as well, too. So, I feel like as people, we need to be cautious on what we are okay with. And this isn't just an AI issue, right? But the AI-ness of it, the AI piece of it has kind of brought these things to life that I think we as humans need to kind of step back and really understand, okay, what is AI? What are the great uses for it? What are the things that we shouldn't use it for? And how as we as a society don't remove the humanity from everything that we're trying to do. And coming out of COVID, I think that right there kind of removed some of the human connection of our culture, of our world. And we need to kind of bring that back. And I think one piece of human connection is music, the sharedness of it, the fact that you can go listen to a song and, it sparks your emotions because it's somebody that is sharing their heart with you. That's just something that I think is so special. It's no different than reading a poem or a poetry book that from a poet you really love and it just strikes you, or a book that you love. Those things, again, that's the human piece of it. It's a human making the story and putting themselves into it while they create it. But because AI is already here, we can't put the genie back in the bottle. What does that mean for musicians? What does that mean for songwriters? What does that mean for producers? What does that mean for mix engineers? And I think the answer to that question is we don't really know, because we don't know the direction society is going to go. But what we do know is what we're in control of, right? We're in control of our own actions. We're in control of how we operate. We're in control of what we can do around us. And so that being said, we can promote the arts that are created by human beings. We can support each other in our humanness. We can use the tools that we have in a way that is best benefiting society. And we need to weather the storm. Because I do feel like AI, it's catchy right now, right? It's new, it's fun, it's something we've never had before. So there's an allure to it, like most things that are brand new. And so I feel like there is going to be kind of this almost cyclical bell curve of acceptance and like, oh, it's going to be really fun. And then all of a sudden we're going to realize, wait a second, it's a computer making sound rather than a human being. And it's almost too perfect. The imperfections of the human playing a guitar or something, I think that's what kind of adds so much to songs and creations that we make. You know what I mean? There's little things, nuances that separate a human-made piece of music or a human-made written book from others. Like even, look at C.S. Lewis in the Chronicles of Narnia. C.S. Lewis, before he passed away, they were asking about him, about his books. And, he kind of reflected and, laughingly said, well, I probably should have went back and edited it a little bit more. There's little things that he noticed and nuances that he would have changed if he would have went back and edited, later on. But again, isn't that what makes that book series so great? Is like the fact that it is what it is, right? And so that's all I'll say about that. Is from a human perspective, I think it's important for us to have the humanness in there, because that's what helps makes it what it is. The fact that you're hearing things in the room when room mics are put around a drum set, right? You're hearing the sound bounce off the walls. That adds elements to the song and the performance. So we as humans need to remember that we are human and music is part of our humanity. And so while AI is here, it's here to stay, and it's a tool that you can use in different ways, I would caution us in using it in the music realm. AI imitates patterns. It imitates other songwriters. It imitates other songs. It's trained on these famous Universal Music Group recordings, but it's not a human that feels pain and joy and faith and loss and tragedy and empathy. And those are the things that I think make music and art so special. And we need to make sure that we don't lose that. So I believe that AI won't take over music, and it won't take music away from us as humans. Music isn't just sound. It's connection. People want to connect with others. Audiences care. Who makes the song? Context matters. Story matters. Humanity matters. And AI, well, it can generate music, but it can't be somebody. So what I would ask all of you is to push back a little bit on the steamroller that is AI music right now, and support artists, support human beings that are doing their craft, that are growing and learning. A 16-year-old kid in his bedroom playing guitar, practicing, learning, growing, creating, forming ideas in his brain that will eventually turn into songs. And the practice and the rigorousness of that as a human being is so important as well too. I learned so much from the struggle and the trial of learning guitar in the early years, and I wouldn't trade that. And that's helped form me as a person, not just as a musician. So I think those are things that we need to make sure we don't take away from the future generations. So let's choose connection over convenience, and that is how our music and our culture will survive into the future. And finally, AI's role in music. Does it even have a role? So for me, it's a tool like anything else, and the level of which it should be used or shouldn't be used, I guess, comes up to the individual, but I think it has to stop at when it fully creates something for you, right? Fully creates lyrics, fully creates a song, fully creates, a guitar, whatever it might be, right? I think when it fully creates that. Now, if it helps you to kind of get to your end goal and you're the creator, I think that's totally fine. So for instance, I think ChatGPT can be used as a thesaurus. Go on there. If you're, what's a word that rhymes with orange and I can't find it, you know what I mean? Or whatever it might be, right? You can use it for that. I think that's a great use. And it doesn't take away from what you're trying to create as an artist. You could use it to help you organize your thoughts. Write a bunch of things down and kind of share what you're thinking about and the direction that you're thinking of taking a song or your music or the concept of your album or whatever it might be, and have it help you organize that. I think those are all great uses of it because, again, those things aren't taking away from you as a human and your creativity, right? You're using a tool to be more efficient as a musician and as an artist. And I think that's great, and that's what AI should be. So to summarize, AI is a tool, and it can be used by artists and by musicians to help them in different ways. But once you remove the humanness of what you're doing, that's when you kind of need to take a step back and really reevaluate what you're doing and why you're doing it. Because humans need to stay at the center of art, at the center of culture, and at the center of our lives. Because the connectedness and the shared experiences that we bring to each other, it really does help make the world a better place. So I hope that wasn't too heavy, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Go out there and make the world a better place, do some music, and have fun.